Hey y'all, I'm the Geek Apprentice and welcome to this year's annual Ask Me Anything. Little over a month ago, it was supposed to be only a couple of weeks that it took me to do it, but now at this point, little over a month ago, I asked via YouTube and Instagram for any questions y'all might have. I do this annually, as I mentioned, and with Baby Geek coming in the next few weeks, I definitely need to get this video out. I did a quick read through before starting the video, and while I don't have all of my answers prepared, I do think these are some of the best questions I've received for an AMA, so let's get to it. Would you go back to the theaters for a hypothetical longer director's cut of Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, or is it something you don't necessarily need or think is necessary? 100% I would. As much as I love the film that we got, I'm still kind of a firm believer that it should have been split into two films so that we could get more details. I thought that was fine for Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2. I thought that was fine for Deathly Hallows as far as Harry Potter is concerned. But I'm one of those diehard fans that would totally do it for that. I would just need to have maybe like some bathroom breaks. Also, I apologize for how my voice sounds. I have been coughing nonstop from bronchitis for the past month. Literally the past month, and it seems to have yet to go away, and I'm still congested for some reason. What is your favorite Animal Crossing game, and how long have you played? I have been playing since it came out for the GameCube way back in the early 2000s. My favorite would have to be New Horizons just because of how much you can do. Does it have a lot of flaws? Yes, I have several videos about how it could be improved. Does it have the best music? No, it arguably has the worst music of the entire series. That said, it's the one I've enjoyed playing the most. Which do you feel is the most underrated franchise? I feel like all of the franchises I'm a part of are valued pretty well. Zelda's valued well, so is Animal Crossing, and Hunger Games, and Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings. I don't know which one it would be considered underrated. Maybe Banjo-Kazooie? And it could just be because I've been thinking lately how we never got Banjo 3E, and that makes me really sad. So, I don't know. But then again, people that love Banjo-Kazooie really love Banjo-Kazooie, like me. Who do you think will be the point of view character for Sunrise on the Reaping? For those that don't know, that is the new prequel book coming out in the Hunger Games series. I think it's coming like this spring, and it takes place during the second quarter quell, which is the 50th Hunger Games, which is Hamish Abernathy's Hunger Games. And maybe it seems obvious, too obvious. I do think it's going to be from Hamish's point of view. I don't know why it wouldn't. I've definitely heard some theories that that's too obvious, but sometimes the simplest answer is the answer. Like, it just makes sense. I don't know why it wouldn't be Hamish's point of view. Could be totally wrong, though. What is your favorite game, and how is Baby Geek? Baby Geek is huge and taking up way too much space that I cannot provide, but very clear sign that we are at the end here. But otherwise very, very healthy. How am I supposed to answer that? That's so difficult. Because my favorite Zelda game is Ocarina of Time, but as far as which one I'll replay more, probably Tears of the Kingdom, but also I've played well over 1,000 hours in Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I also love playing Mario Kart. I really love playing Mario Party with my family. I don't think I can pick a favorite game, because there's way too many factors involved. It's hard enough to pick a favorite Zelda game, let alone just a favorite game, video game. I'm assuming you mean video game in general, so I don't know. Would you ever try to delve into the Metroid franchise? Honestly, it's just not my thing. That said, the trailer for Prime 4 looked pretty cool. What is it called? Beyond or something like that. And the way it looks kind of reminds me of Geek Husband's Halo games, which he's got me to try a couple of times. And when it's on super duper easy mode, I can kind of handle it, but it's just wouldn't be my first priority to play. I would rather just keep playing Zelda and Animal Crossing. Favorite class you took in college? I'm going to answer this in two ways. One that was specifically for my major, which was theater, and one that was not for my major. Beginning with the latter, easily general psych. I loved general psychology. I had a fantastic professor, and apparently it's a very difficult class. I don't want to make that sound like I'm some brainiac. I'm not. But there were plenty of people who said, I need to take it with her. She's the best for it, but be prepared. You might get a C or a D. Most people do. and I finished with a 92 in the class. I think it was just the way she taught really clicked with me and made sense to me. And when you enjoy material, you tend to remember it better. But I found that class incredibly fascinating, and I debated adding on a psych minor had I had enough time. Well, I had enough time to take all the classes needed to have a minor. It was just, they couldn't have all been with that professor, and I didn't hear great things about the other professors, so I was like, you know what, I'm not going to add unnecessary stress. I'll just keep focusing on theater. As far as classes for my major, there was a lot of good ones, but I think I'm going to go with theater literature 2. I liked theater literature 1, and I liked the material for it, but the problem is there was only 4 of us in the class. And then the next year, I think the next semester when we took Theater Lit 2, just the way the class scheduling is set up and everything by your year or whatever, rather than it being just juniors in the class, which is what I was, it was juniors and seniors. So there was 2 or 3 more people in the class, and then a couple of people who took it for fun. So the discussions were a lot better. It had probably one of my favorite professors, who was also my advisor and the head of the theater department. Very tough, but like good tough. So when you got her approval, it was pretty awesome. And she loved the choreography that I would do for the shows that needed choreography, and that was always really cool. But great discussions, great plays, and she was very good about writing her assignments in a way to where you couldn't really fudge your way through and not read the material, as much as I tried. But that was a fun class. I really enjoyed it. This question comes from my best friend. She was my matron of honor at my wedding. She asks, how does it feel to be my fave? How does it feel to be my fave? Goes both ways. So however that feels for you is what it feels for me. She's a fantastic woman, mother of 3. She had 3 under 3, and she is just kick butt with them. If she ever sees this, I don't know how you do it. You're incredible. I mean, I know you know how you do it, because, grace of God is an amazing thing, but also God gave you those natural abilities to be a fantastic mother. So she's awesome. I love her to death. What's your favorite color? It's called Antique Rose. It's like a dusty pink color. I also like pastel pink. But yeah, in general, that is my favorite color. Have you ever read Percy Jackson? Oh my gosh, if I had $1 for every time I've been asked this or something relative to Percy Jackson, I might have like $20. But that would be, maybe half of my gas tank. I don't know. That might be nice. No, I have never read Percy Jackson. I have no interest in Percy Jackson. Actually, someone put this quite well. I'm not saying it would apply, but I forget who was. Some creator was like, yeah, Hunger Games seems to be the millennial teen young adult thing, and Percy Jackson is the Gen Z. I am 100% a millennial. I was born right at the end of the millennial age. I know, labels, whatever. But for want of better phrasing and, kind of what little I've looked into it, yeah, I'm a millennial, just a young one. Whereas you've got Geek Mom, on the other hand, who, even though she is at the tail end of the boomer age, 100% is Gen X. She is Gen X all the way. She had the feral childhood, which is kind of fascinating to hear about, honestly. Will you play Majora's Mask ever? I feel like I'm always bugging you about that. I think that despite you mentioning how you never want to play it, as long as you follow a guide, then you'd be able to have an enjoyable experience. I don't know if I've ever explicitly said that I didn't want to play Majora's Mask. I've said that I don't enjoy Twilight Princess. Fantastic game, I just don't personally enjoy it. Majora's Mask, well, maybe I have said it because I find it overwhelming. I love watching people play it. It's kind of the same thing as Twilight Princess. I love watching people play it, but in this case, it's just overwhelming. I guess if I have a guide, it'd be fine, and especially with how much I love Ocarina of Time. And I did grow up watching my brothers play Majora's Mask, and I dabbled a little bit in it. So I'm not saying I won't ever. I have a better chance of playing that than I think I do Twilight Princess. But we'll see. Second question. Will you ever give Triforce Heroes a chance? No. No. The story is stupid. This is very different from when people say like, oh, the story wasn't that strong in this game or the other, blah, 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 blah. No, this case, the story is just flat out stupid and I refuse to play it. Is that petty? Maybe, but it's my decision and I'm sticking to it. Have you ever read or considered reading Colin's other book series, The Underland Chronicles? I know it's a series that gets overlooked because everyone thinks of Hunger Games with her. I don't have an interest in reading it. I've kind of read a synopsis of it and I don't know. I'm at a point where I'm not really reading new stuff, not new fiction. I read a lot of nonfiction. But yeah, I feel like I just kind of stick to Harry Potter and the Hunger Games, which some people might be like, that's so basic. Well, okay, so be it. Which link do you think would fit best in How to Train Your Dragon? I'm gonna say not Ocarina of Time, maybe Wind Waker, not Twilight Princess. I mean, maybe. Not Skyward Sword. Yeah, and you know what? I'm just off the top of my head, I'm gonna say Wind Waker Link. I think he's got good vibes, whatever. At least for the first film. But if we go on to later where things are a little bit darker, nah, I'm just gonna keep it at Wind Waker Link. I think it works. If you could combine two franchises into one story or game, what would you pick and why? I don't think I would combine any like movies or books, but as far as games, I don't think I would. Maybe this is such a boring answer. It's just, I love things as they are and I don't really need overlap. I like to keep things separate, you know? I don't want Zelda to delve into my Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is one feel, Zelda is very much another. I don't want to combine my Harry Potter and Hunger Games because they are two very different feels for me and different goals when I'm reading them. And yeah, maybe that's a boring answer, but I don't want to combine them. What are some of your favorite non-Nintendo game series? Are there any? There's one, The Sims. I do go through phases of playing The Sims 4 a lot. I grew up with Sims 2. Sims 2, I think, is the GOAT. Especially with certain mods. Now, there are a lot of things that Sims 4 really does better. I never played Sims 3 for context. I fell out of it for a while. I do think Sims 4, though, even though it's a lot better in a lot of areas, really could learn from Sims 2. Like, we still don't have cars. Like, there's just so many things I could go into so many details about how we were gypped in Sims 4, and it's just a cash grab. But also, it's EA Games, so are we really that surprised? No, I don't think so. If Echoes of Wisdom introduces a new antagonist, what do you think they should be like? I don't know if it is going to introduce a new antagonist. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward that it's going to be Ganon, and possibly like a possessed Link. I guess if they introduced a new one, make it a girl. Because we're playing as Zelda. Women are vicious, okay? Like, men have the bulky, physical strength, tough vibe to them. And girls, we're manipulative and cunning and, oh my gosh, you know, because we make up for that in the lack of strength in the biology department. It's not that we're not strong, but comparatively there's just some basic differences. That's not a bad thing. Different doesn't equal bad. We don't handle our battles by punching each other and then saying, all right, got that out of our system, let's go hang out. We harbor things for years. We're vicious. We are very vicious. It is not a good thing. It is a toxic trait of women. Ooh. So that could make for a really interesting antagonist if she is after Ganon's power, or, you know, worshipping him or something. That could be interesting. Who is your patron / confirmation saint, or really just which saints do you connect with the most? My confirmation saint is Saint Rose of Lima, which was an accident. When I was 13 in my CCD class, if you're not Catholic, this probably is like, what on earth is she talking about? We were given a list, just like to kind of help guide us if we wanted to pick a certain saint name to kind of model ourselves after. On the left was like the picture of the saint and their name, and on the right was the description. And I read the description of St. Maria Goretti, and for some reason, when I looked left, associated it with the picture and name St. Rose of Lima. So I did St. Rose of Lima, thinking it was St. Maria Goretti. But it worked out, because what happened was I didn't do any research after that. I'm so silly. And my mom gave me stuff after my confirmation, and I'm reading the back of the St. Rose of Lima prayer card, and I'm like, this is not her. But she, among many things, is the patron saint of florists. My mom owned a flower shop for a long, long time and has worked in multiple flower shops, so that's pretty cool. Also, clearly the patroness of Lima, Peru, where I ended up 5 years later going for dance ministry. Yes, dance mission trip. That is a thing. Not a common thing, but it is a thing. So I went to Lima, Peru twice for mission work. So that kind of worked out really, really well. The irony is roses are like my least favorite flower. But obviously there is a beauty to them. My favorite flower is carnations and sunflowers and hydrangeas. Actually, I have some hydrangeas back here from one of my baby showers, actually. As far as saints I resonate with, it's not that I resonate with this one, but the story of St. Genesius, super fascinating. St. Genesius is the patron saint of actors. The shortened version is he was making a play that made fun of the Mass, the Catholic Mass, and I forget who the emperor was at this time. But he was performing it for them, and he had to do a lot of research to make sure that he was at least making it accurate to what the Mass is. And in the middle of doing this play, he had a massive conversion of the heart and was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? This is the truth. This is real, and I'm making fun of it. And he stops the play and like implores the audience and is like, hey, like I just realized this, and you guys should come to believe. I believe, like this crazy thing. But of course they didn't like that. The people of this empire did not like that, and they murdered him. So he became a martyr. He was not converted for very long, but I guess it worked out, sort of. I mean, he's a saint. Who is your favorite Zelda character outside of the main characters? And are you enjoying summer? Thankfully, summer is getting close to being over. I live in Florida, and while there are many good things about Florida, one of those is not the weather. I hate anything above 70 degrees Fahrenheit. You can Google what that is, Celsius. Anything above 70 is too hot. And typically from like mid-April through mid-October here, it's like averaging 85 at the lowest during the day, and over 100, or at least heat index of over 100 because of the humidity and everything. Yeah, no, I am enjoying summer otherwise, though. As you can see, we just moved to a new place, so that's nice. Also, being in your third trimester in the middle of the summer, not a great combo. Not a great combination at all. Favorite Zelda character outside of the main ones? I realize I haven't been talking directly into this, so we'll see how that goes with the audio. Outside of the main ones, kind of want to say Mipha from Breath of the Wild. Also Navi, because my cat's name is Navi, because she meows a lot, or at least she did as a kitten. And I'll say Malin. It's just what comes to mind. What are some of your best brother-sister moments you've had with your brothers, childhood through now? I would say all the times we played Mario Party together, along with my mom. Those were just good times. Like, of all the things you would do to spend time as a family, it was video games. We weren't really outdoorsy people. We probably would have been if we didn't live in Florida. I think if we had been like in Colorado or something, oh yeah, totally outdoorsy people. And then, oh gosh, I don't know how to phrase this. There was a situation a few years back that it lasted a few years too. Very difficult situation. But in the midst of all that, I really began to see how much my brothers cared. There was just things going on that it made them very upset, very reasonably upset too, and wanting to really protect and defend me, because they were like, this is ridiculous and no one should be doing this to our sister. So I like that. I guess it's a silver lining. Like, I saw a lot of good things come out of that, like how protective my family is, which I knew that, but then to see it like in real time and to see it like laid out, like seeing people get angry for you, like, I don't know, maybe that sounds weird, but like seeing like so much of my family being like, this is not okay and we're going to protect you and defend you at any cost. Whereas I thought it wasn't that big of a deal until I said certain things out loud and I was like, oh, yeah, that is weird. That is creepy. That is messed up. And then they were like, we got your back. I was like, oh, well, that's cool. I mean, I knew my family had my back, but I don't know. I hope that makes sense. Is Baby Geek a girl? No. Baby Geek is full on a boy, but I will not be saying his name. He'll always just be Baby Geek as far as here is concerned. Do you watch The Chosen? Also, do you use the Hollow app? I do use the Hollow app. Not all the time, but usually to help guide me in rosaries or daily scripture readings. I'm not always that consistent with it as I should be. And do I watch The Chosen? No. Can't stand it. Cannot stand it. No offense. Not a good Jesus. I don't think he plays Jesus well. I don't like how they portray Mary. I just think the series takes way too many liberties. Like, I am 100% not sola scriptura, but obviously heavily value the Bible. And what they do is just, I think sola scriptura, not any Christian, should look at that show and be like, this is messed up. Like, this is not okay. This is just, I don't like how many liberties they take. And it's objectively just kind of bad writing. Harsh, but that's how I feel. Do you like roller coasters and theme park rides? Yes. Geek Husband hates roller coasters, ironically, because he's like a danger seeker in a sense. Like, he doesn't mind dangerous stuff. I do. But I love roller coasters, and he cannot stand them. I love a good roller coaster. What song did you and Geek Husband dance to for your first dance at your wedding? And what song was played for the father-daughter dance? Geek Husband and I danced to a cover of the song for the Dancing and the Dreaming from How to Train Your Dragon 2. The cover was by The Hound and the Fox. And I did not have a father-daughter dance, but I did have a grandfather-daughter dance, and we did the song Young at Heart by Frank Sinatra. This person has a lot of questions, so I'm not answering all of them. I'm sorry. Have you ever considered getting a Geek Squad t-shirt of any kind? I did used to have a merch store, but it just, I don't know. It sold a few things. I just don't think my audience is really interested in merch, especially because my stuff is very girly. Like, and that's not everyone's taste. Fair enough. So I closed that down a while back. When will be the last fundraising stream before you leave for maternity leave? I'd like to contribute. Also, can you explain how it works and how to donate? So for those that don't know, I made a video a while back, kind of a little bit transparent about just being on rough times. It is just no short of the fact that the grace of God that we are in this apartment right now, and we are extremely grateful for that. Things are tough for everyone. Like, I don't want to make it sound like, oh, it's just us. And people's generosity has been fantastic. I mean, half of what's already been in my donation goal, which was what I talked about in the video, was like, yes, if you can donate, great, or become a patron to give us something consistent, that would be fantastic. But the donation goal, I essentially just loosely made it what it would be that we're losing while I'm on maternity leave. Because there were just some things that we didn't expect to happen that happened. We were ready, but then we weren't. And, you know, that's life. And half of what's been raised so far actually was given by my church family. I have a huge parish, but it was really the choir. And then the other half was like still mostly one person, and then quite a bit from someone else, which I will be contacting people that donated soon, at least ones that I can, because it was mostly through Streamlabs, so I don't know why I went real southern right there. I need to contact them to be like, I have a way I want to thank you, because really what has been raised really helped us get this apartment, and all the people that signed up for Patreon will help us keep this apartment too, which is fantastic. I mean, it's not like we don't have jobs, it's just things happened. If you want to donate, you just need to go to streamlabs.com/TheGeekApprentice, and it should all be laid out right there. The donation goal, is going to be open all the way through the end of the year. And there's always Patreon too. Patreon.com/TheGeekApprentice. I mean, heck, $1 is still really cool. It's $12 a year. Why not? Although Patreon's making some changes. I got an email about that I'm like, why are they forcing us to make this change? I don't like this. But yeah, for anyone who's interested in that, it's been rough, but also grace of God has really opened our eyes to a lot of things. I always ask these types of questions. What got you into Zelda, Hunger Games, whatever you're interested in? Video games in general is because I grew up with it. My brothers played video games, therefore I played video games. What stood out to me were games like Zelda, Mario Party and Mario Kart, because I liked playing with other people, and Banjo-Kazooie, just because it was a lot of fun and it was easier for me to grasp at a young age. And then Animal Crossing, because I like simulators like that, where like you just decorate. I find that really fun. Hunger Games was because my mom forced me to go see the first film with her. She's a big book fan. Like she just loves reading. And she was like, I don't want to go to the theater by myself. I want you to come with me. I was like, ugh, isn't this just like Twilight or something? And she was like, no, very much not like Twilight. Not even a comparison there. And then after I saw the movie, I was like, oh, I actually have questions. That's intriguing. And of course, my mom brings up like, that's not how she got the pin. That's a real insult, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't until like a year later when my mom reminded me that the second film would be coming out based on the second book that maybe I should read them, even though she knew I hated reading. But one of my brothers, he would always say, it's not that you hate reading, it's that you haven't found a genre you liked. And unfortunately, I hate to admit it, he was correct, because I did eventually read the entire trilogy like in one day. And the rest is history. I became obsessed. Harry Potter was because my mom and brother, that same brother, read the books, and of course I'd go to the movies with them, but it wasn't until like I think I finished college that I finally read the series. Books are fantastic. If you're someone who was like me and only watched the films and you're like, well, now I can't really read the books, it's worth it. It's still worth it to read the books. I highly recommend. What part of Hyrule would you want to live in the most? Ooh, depends on the Hyrule. If we're going with Wind Waker, I would say Windfall. It just seems like a nice little town. But if we're going with more like Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, I don't like fish, so I don't want to be in Lorulian. I don't really care for the beach too much. I like it, but... So I guess Hateno Village. It's probably good enough. And then as far as all the other maps... Twilight Princess, probably Ordon Village. Ocarina of Time, Kakariko. Once everyone's living there, yeah. Yeah, that's probably where I'd go. What is your favorite movie of all time? I can't pick one. But let me just name off a bunch that I will always love. The Princess Bride, Galaxy Quest, Clue, the Keira Knightley Pride and Prejudice, the Hunger Games trilogy, well, all the films, and as well as the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. We're just going to include them all as one. Lady and the Tramp, Tangled, Brave. Oh, I'm gonna go with Sleepless in Seattle. I don't know. There's so many movies that I love. And I could throw Lord of the Rings in there. It's just, I can't pick one. That's not possible. Oh, That Thing You Do. How could I forget That Thing You Do? Longtime favorite of mine. Which Zelda world would you most want to live in? All of them, there is the prerequisite of it's post-saving Hyrule. But I guess I would say probably Tears of the Kingdom, just because it's the biggest one. Yeah, I'm not a big ocean person, so not Wind Waker. Last question. What are you most looking forward to in regards to Baby Geek? I know there's a lot I'm terrified for, but that's okay. That's normal. Most looking forward to the outfits. No. Very curious to see just... This is gonna sound so stupid. So you know how in Sims you can create 2 Sims characters and then you do combined DNA and like you can just keep randomizing it and you never know what you're gonna get? That's what I'm curious about, is like, because my husband and I look quite different from each other. We're both pale, but he can tan really, really well. And since he works in construction and he works outside most of the time, he's currently very, very tan. Well, his face, neck, and forearms. But I am always pale. He has basically black hair, and it's straighter and thick. I've got thin blonde curly hair. He has like hazel, sort of like dark mossy green eyes. I've got light green eyes, but there's a blue ring on the outside. And like in certain lighting, like if I have good natural light, they do appear really blue. Not like my dad. My dad had like crystal blue eyes. It was kind of crazy. And then when you look at like the parents on both sides too, like the grandparents, there's still so much diversity there too. So I'm just really curious whose features he gets. And same with personality, because I've heard a lot from many different parents. I mean, I'm a dance teacher, so I interact with parents a lot. Well, typically moms, but sometimes grandparents and dads too. And they'll typically say how it's funny when you see, it's frustrating, but funny when you see your worst traits appear in your child. You're like, oh my gosh, of all the things you could have picked up on from me, why are you picking up on that? So of course there's like I hope he picks up on the best traits of both of us and not the worst, but I mean, it's kind of inevitable. Like, as close as Geek Mom and I are, there are things that I'm like, this is a problem I have. Yeah, I got that from her. But like, you kind of learn to laugh at it. So, you know, there's that. And as far as stuff that I guess more relatable to the channel, very excited to see if he ends up enjoying video games and nerdy things. We want him, both Geek Husband and I, we want him to not just be a video game person. He might not like video games at all, and we don't want to encourage a ton of screen time, obviously. There's many good reasons to avoid the screen for a long time, but he and I are both gamers. Very different gamers. He'll be able to play my games first. Just by the nature of them. We're not playing Halo at age 3 here. But also that he'll be, like, we're interested to see if he's a nerd like us. Because, I mean, Geek Husband is heavily into Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and church history. I am also into church history, and I like Lord of the Rings a lot, and I love Hunger Games and The Legend of Zelda and Harry Potter and How to Train Your Dragon. Like, we're both huge nerds, but I'm also a big movie person. Geek Husband is more of a book person, and it's just, it'll be interesting to see what level of nerdiness he goes with. I guess geekiness is technically the correct term. We'd love it if he's a nerd too, because Geek Husband and I are fair enough nerds. We like learning, just only about things we like. Which I think is probably true of everyone. Neither, like, he really hated school. I didn't mind school that much. Except for math, because I did online virtual school. That's about it. Well, those are all of the questions. Well, not all of them. As many as I felt like I could answer. Thank you guys so much for your continual support of the channel. I don't know what it's gonna be like when I go on my maternity leave. I don't know. I can't even give like a rough plan of like, oh, I'll probably still stream once a week. I don't know. I'm trying to write as many scripts as possible right now. I don't know what it's going to be like. So I thank you guys so much in advance for sticking around and continuing to support. I especially thank all of those that support on Patreon and continue to, even when I have these lulls in content. Very much appreciate it. Those that have donated on Streamlabs and continually make donations, you have no idea. Like, this environment right now that I'm in is possible because of, yes, changes that Geek Husband and I made to make this possible and help from so many people in our lives, from his family, my family, my work family, because I do consider it a family. That's not often people can say that, but I do consider my work a family, and our church family, as well as all of you guys. Like, it's just, well, so beyond grateful. But I hope these answers were somewhat interesting. And yeah, I guess there's nothing else left to say. Thanks for watching, and yep, that's it. I'm losing my train of thought. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching.